The central coast of British Columbia is one of the most spectacular and biologically rich places left on the planet, where ancient temperate rainforest intertwines with the living Pacific. The 4 First Nations who have inhabited the Central Coast for thousands of years have joined forces, forming the Central Coast Indigenous Resource Alliance, otherwise known as SECURA. Using a combination of traditional knowledge and science, the nations are committed to upholding their Indigenous laws and stewarding these marine resources in a manner that sustains their cultures and ensures intact ecosystems, healthy communities, and local sustainable economies, now and into the future. The nation's marine plans set out a blueprint for sustainable local economies that makes marine industries the foundation of the Central Coast economy, while taking into consideration the carrying capacity of the local ecosystems and the skills and assets of the local First Nations.
What's happened in a lot of the resource industries is you get these boom and bust cycles. So one business moves in, it does really well, and then it peters out. And so the next business comes in, it does well, and it peters out. But the problem is then that leads to a really big dependence of people on one industry, the next industry, the next industry. And what we want is we want something to be able to come in and to be able to not hit the bust cycle, because it's going to take a long time for that resource to recover. And so what we want to do is we want to manage it in a manner where we can come in and we can just sort of hit a plateau. We can continually harvest. We can continually make sure that the species is going to be there, whether it's fish, whether it's forests.
If you're able to even harvest and manage these resources with conservation in mind, you could have a more balanced economy, more consistent. There'd be more people that are still holding licenses and fishing, and people wouldn't have to be relying on things like employment insurance and things like that. So if you can manage resources properly, it'll benefit everything long term.
SECURA is working to create jobs for the people of its nations in sustainable local marine industries, helping people acquire the training they need for employment in sectors such as tourism, aquaculture, and marine transportation, as well as working with local entrepreneurs to help establish business plans, access funding for startup, and provide ongoing business mentorship. One of these initiatives involves acquiring commercial fishing licenses and building capacity within the local fishing fleet.
Ever since I've had this boat, I fish for the community. Like I go halibut fishing or salmon. I take some sure for my family and stuff, but I give it away to the elders. Come first, and I'll bring them up to the elder center that we have here. I've been fishing ever since I was probably 4 years old. I remember my grandfather used to put me in a cupboard in the boat. It's a good way of life. There's not enough people doing it around here, that's for sure. I'd like to see more of our Heiltsuk people involved in this kind of fishery, because I got guys asking me every day, how do I get to do this kind of stuff, right? Our resources are here in the Central Coast. I don't see why they don't utilize it. I think they could be better managed so we can employ the people here, right? There is a lot of potential here. I'd like to see it survive.
We're up here in a place where it is so rich with marine life, and that we can harvest as long as we do it in a sustainable way. The fish plant, we process salmon, so chum salmon, pink salmon, coho, spring salmon. We process sea cucumbers. We're looking into various different projects like sea urchins, kelp, prawns. Within the 120 people employed at the plant, 119 of them are from here, so it's very local. By employing the people of the Heiltsuk people are able to take trips, they're able to get off social assistance, they're processing the fish, therefore that money is going to stay in the community, help out people in the community, grow businesses within the community. And we've really noticed the happy workers coming to work, people thanking us for keeping the plant open just because it's changing people's lives.
Well, this past season is a real good example. I had a real successful salmon season for the fish plant, and well over 1 million pounds brought in. So I always felt good when I was delivering, and I had a young man in my fish hole unloading me, and it all begins there, and then it goes up high up into the dock, and So there's a lot of people employed.
We want this to happen for many generations. We want this plant to continue. So we need to look at making sure that stocks aren't overfished and that we make this fishery sustainable.
Well, we spent a lot of time in our community looking at developing sustainable jobs for the community, and we recognized the potential for tourism quite a long time ago. And I think back then we were looking at developing an industry that was non-extractive, and I think we wanted to be able to prove to people that you can develop an industry that's that's non-extractive and be able to employ people. And now it's been fairly successful. Now we employ 40 people, and we're training local people as guides, as boat operators, as chefs. It's a community-owned and operated tourism company. It's mainly focused on wildlife viewing, so we offer quite a few day packages out viewing whether it's bears, whales, or just the environment in general. So people come from all over the world. I mean, most of the market a few years ago was mainly about 80% was from Europe, but now we're starting to see markets from all over start to come up.
Germany, Australia, Animal Planet, National Geographic. Look what they come to see. They come to see the spear bear, they come to see the grizzly, they come to see the orcas, they come to see the humpback, the porpoise, sea lions, seals, sea otters, and all the birds that we have around here. Mountain goats, if we see them.
I think just a lot of people are, when they come here, are just amazed at what's here, what's left. And I think that a lot of people come here. And one of the most common comments is that, they used to have these kind of forests and don't anymore. So I think people are still looking for nature or, just to have an intact environment like this. I mean, so I think a lot of people are amazed when they come here.
Oh, they just love my territory. Every one of them I met. You got beautiful territory. Everyone that we're coming home, all your territory is beautiful. All the trees, all the wildlife. Some of them actually cry when they leave us here. Oh yeah. That one lady I took her to Bella Bella, her and her husband. I'm just saying, we're not saying goodbye, we're just saying see you later. I made her cry harder.